Alright, so we've got this problem number 7, and it's a ball thrown straight up into the air, and it stays in the air for 4.4 seconds. What I want to do is I want to split this into two parts. First, we have the problem of the ball is launched from the ground, it flies into the air, and stops. That's the first part. Now the second part is we're going to actually have the ball in the air and then fall back to the ground. And this is how this is going to work. First, for the first part, we're going to have a v initial that's unknown. We're going to have a v final that's 0. We're going to have g equal to negative 9.81 meters per second squared. We know that time is 2.2 seconds. We don't know what the final height is, and we know that the initial height is 0. So here we go. For this next part, as it's falling back to the ground, we know that v initial is 0. We know that y naught is 0. Sorry, y naught is actually unknown. We don't know what it equals. We know that the time to fall is 2.2 seconds. We don't know the v final. We do know that y is 0 when it hits the ground. And we know that g is negative 9.81 meters per second squared. Awesome. Now, what is the maximum height the ball reaches? Well, it turns out the way we're going to get the maximum height is by looking at this second part. We're going to find the distance that it falls to reach the ground. So we're going to use y equals 1/2 gt squared plus v naught t plus y naught. So I know it reaches 0 equals 1/2 times negative 9.8 times 2.2 squared plus 0 times t plus unknown y naught. And finally we're left with y naught equals, when we solve, (23.74 meters). Excellent. So that takes care of that if I have it right. I'm going to make absolutely sure. So it turns out the answer I gave here is not right. I'm going to double check Schoology and make sure I got it right, but it's 23.74 meters. And then we want to know what's the initial velocity with which the ball was thrown. So we'll go ahead and get that by using v equals negative gt plus v naught. We know that 0 equals negative 9.8 times 2.2 plus v naught. And that gives us v naughts equal to (21.58 meters per second). Now here's the interesting thing. When we get v final, that actually is going to work out to be 21.58 meters per second, but in the negative direction since it's downward. So that wraps up the problem set 1 through 7. I know you see a little hint of problem number 8 down here. We're going to take a look at that one next week, and it's a really obnoxious problem that'll be good practice for your exam coming up a little bit after Thanksgiving.